I've been having a very full weekend here with Pets 3 yesterday, and here we are today with the Assembly. Great that you could all come, and we hope that you enjoy all the sessions that we run here today. Let's start with, why did you join Rotary? What is it about Rotary that you saw as attractive? Was it because a friend asked you? Was it the prestige of joining Rotary? Was it the projects that someone was doing that you thought, gee, I'd love to do that with them? What was it about Rotary that got you in? I'm not sure that I ever thought I'd ever join Rotary. My father was in Rotary, my father-in-law was in Rotary, and my boss was in Rotary. So I thought Rotary was for top dogs in an organisation, and I wasn't a top dog, so I didn't think I'd ever get to join Rotary. So it was great that I managed to finally, when I was retiring, someone asked me, oh, you're retiring, you better join Rotary. So here I am. Did you join because it was a vibrant club? Have you helped to keep it as a vibrant club? These things are what we really need to make sure that Rotary continues in this world. So please have fun while you're in Rotary. This is what fun looks like. This is our motto for Rotary. I'm so far away I can't read it. Together, people create change. So we're here to create change, to make people love Rotary and for us to love Rotary. We've got all these different strategic priorities. Again, I can't even read them because they're so far away.
Bill, are you supposed to be on?
You're meant to be sharing your screen, Bill.
Share screen.
I mean, we can.
What is it about Rotary that
not hearing us
gives that impact to all the community that we're working with? What is it that helps Rotary to join, people to join, and people to see that what Rotary's doing in the community, and they say, wow, that's great. You are a great organisation. We can expand our reach if we keep our logo on everything we do, and we might find that more people want to join Rotary because they think we're doing a fantastic job. How do we engage the people that we've got in Rotary? How do we make sure that the people that we've joined Rotary enjoy what they're doing? What are we doing to make sure that the skills that people have in our organisation are used so that they feel appreciated? Can our clubs adapt? Can we do something different in our clubs so that it is a good organisation in the future? There might be a chance that you start a satellite club, because some might say, look, I can't afford the meals, or I just don't want to do that particular part of the thing, but they may still want to be in Rotary, but not under that circumstance. The other thing that we're looking at is our reputation. Have we got a reputation? The only thing people see when we're in Rotary is that we're down Bunnings selling sausages. Is that what our organisation's about? Or are we a humanitarian service organisation? Are we here to do things in our community, or are we here just to fundraise? Surely we need to do the money, we need to plan what we're going to do with that money and then do that. So, and we badge it with our organisation rather than giving money to a different organisation who badge that with theirs. And then they come back next year and ask for some more money so that they can badge it again. And we don't get any credit. We just see that something's happened with someone else's name on it. We are people of action. Make sure that we do that action. Part of our organisation is looking at causes, and as part of that we have 7 different causes, and the newest one is the environment. And my banner for my country conference behind me is all about that environment issue. There's other issues like mothers and babies and clean water and other things like that. And you can buy some of the different banners like the one behind me from RDU with all these different causes on it, be it the peace, be it disease, be it education, be it local economies. Now, Shaker is going to be the international president next year, and he had a fantastic message, but unfortunately the internet here in this part of Traralgon is so poor that I'm not going to be able to show you the video today. But these are some of the messages that Shaker has on his video. He wants to increase our membership to 1.3 million. And to do that, he's saying, each one bring one. Do more to grow more, or vice versa. Grow more so that you can do more. All these things will help. And one of his big emphases for this year is, let's look after women, let's look after girls, let's make sure that in some of these countries where girls have to leave school because of their menstrual cycle and can't go back to school until things are fixed up. Even I know there's a area in Nepal where if during that period they're not even allowed to live in the family home, they have to live down the backyard in what looks like a dunny for a week until they're allowed back in home. And that's a risk in itself, because there's always marauding fellows from nearby countries that will come and snatch them and take them back for slave trade in a different country. And that's very unfortunate. So what can we do to help with these things? These are things that need help. Think about how you can do these things. So that's me, and I will now move on and let Jessie Harmon, who is our Zone 8 Director, or Director-elect. She's got 6 weeks to go, and then she's the Director for all of Zone 8, which is Australia, New Zealand and the Pacific Islands. And Jessie has been very good to me by coming here to help with our PETS program yesterday and with Assembly today. So here we are. Welcome, Jessie. Ready?
Thank you, Bill, and hello, everybody. It's wonderful to be with you today. I've been speaking a lot lately about the importance of member engagement. I've been speaking to club leaders about the importance of having engaged members. You know, engaged members are at the heart of who we are and what we do, and they're fundamentally key to delivering Rotary's impact. But I also know that member engagement is a two-way street. And so today I want to talk to you about the things that you can do to get engaged and stay engaged and to get more out of your Rotary membership. And so I'd like to share with you 6 top tips for getting value out of your Rotary membership. And I'm going to draw those tips from the research on volunteering and volunteer management and my own personal experience of Rotary. My first tip is to find the project that floats your boat. You know, there are so many amazing projects in Rotary. from building playgrounds and planting trees to mentoring young people, to delivering clean water in remote villages abroad, to saving the world's children from polio. You know, there are as many projects in Rotary as there are Rotarians, and people dreaming up new projects every day. You know, so to get the most out of your Rotary membership, find a project that floats your boat. Get involved and get others involved as well. My second tip for getting value out of your Rotary membership is to visit another Rotary club. You know, Rotary clubs are amazing places and every club is different. So go and visit another club in your area or beyond. Enjoy their fellowship, participate in their service projects, bring back good ideas into your club. And remember, once you're a member of a Rotary club, you are welcome at any Rotary club in the world. So when the world does open up again, use your Rotary membership as a ticket to travel. Go and join Rotary clubs all over the world and truly experience the internationality of Rotary. My third tip is to share your ideas. You know, every Rotary club is on the lookout for new ideas, new ways to deliver better service, new strategies to promote Rotary, new ways to grow Rotary's membership. So bring your experience to the fore. Share your new ideas from life to strengthen Rotary. You know, strengthening Rotary is everybody's responsibility. My fourth tip is a simple one. Say yes. There are Rotary is like so many other things. The more that you put in, the more that you get out in return. So when somebody asks, say yes. You know, saying yes is not just about the opportunity to give back to your community, but it's about saying yes to building your confidence, developing your public speaking skills, your project management skills, your teamwork. You know, I know that you're busy, but in Rotary, good things happen to people that say yes. My fifth tip is to have fun. You know, even the most dedicated volunteer wants to have fun. So get involved in the fun activities of Rotary. You know, join your club's social activities. You know, sign up for a Rotary fellowship. The Gin Fellowship is definitely on my mind right now. You know, participate in a Rotary friendship exchange. There are so many things that you can do in Rotary to have fun. You know, have fun, make friends and associates for life. And my final tip is a really important one. Wear your Rotary pin. You know, we are an amazing organisation. We have been delivering wonderful impact for more than 100 years. You know, this pin means trust. It means integrity. It means action. It means hope. And it is recognised all around the world. So my final tip is wear your pin. Proud to be a Rotarian. So everyone, they're my 6 top tips for getting the very most out of your Rotary membership. And as we approach this new Rotary year, I ask you to recommit. You know, commit to getting involved, to having fun, you know, to really being engaged with making a difference through Rotary. You know, we are an amazing organisation. We are a group of problem solvers, change makers, people of action committed to changing the world. And very much finally, at the end of National Volunteering Week, I would like to say to all of you, thank you. Thank you for everything that you do for Rotary. Thank you for giving your time, your treasure, and your talent to creating positive and lasting change. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone. Thank you, Jessie. Thank you very much for those words and encouragement for Rotarians. We really enjoyed that, and thank you very much for travelling all the way from Ballarat to sunny Traralgon. So next we have a good friend of mine, Darcy Walsh, a past president of the Rotary Club of Adelaide. Now Darcy's a real character, and he's really, not just by himself of course, but as with the other president of another year, has helped bring the Rotary Club of Adelaide around from being a traditional club that was failing numbers, ageing membership. And I don't want to steer his thunder too much because he's going to talk all about that and how they were able to turn it around with all their members. So I asked Darcy now to share his screen and take over. If everyone else could please remain muted, there will be an opportunity for questions, we think, at the end. And also just maximise your view. At the top right-hand corner of your screen is an option to have speaker view, and that way you'll get the full image on your screen. And if everyone else stays muted, that won't be interrupted. Thank you very much. Over to you, Darcy.
Terrific. Thanks very much, Tim, and thanks very much for inviting me to talk with you today. We're very proud of what we've achieved at the Rotary Club of Adelaide, and I'm happy to share those experiences with you today in the hope that you may see something that may be relevant to your club. Let me just see how we're going here. All right, is everyone happy with that? Can they see that okay?
All good.
All good? Okay, so let's start with a little bit of background. Back in May 2015, the Rotary Club of Adelaide, as Tim indicated, like many of the clubs in the developing world and maybe many of your clubs, had declining membership numbers, a very ageing membership profile. Our average age was 69, a very low and small percentage of female and younger members, and very few members with different ethnic backgrounds. Our future was very unclear. We'd declined some 30% in the previous 15 years. That's 10% a year for the last 5 years. We were, in fact, predominantly an ageing male Anglo-Saxon membership. And if you look at that bottom photo there, that was taken at a club meeting in 2014. Now, I've counted them up. There's 65 old balding male heads there. And in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see one female.
And there's another female over there.
Is there another one? Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Something had to be done, and it was time for change, and change we did. Look at us now. Here are some of our new younger members at the top there. And at the bottom there, that's our new Rotary Club of Adelaide choir, and that photo was actually taken on April 25th when we had hosted a special centenary dinner for the other clubs in Group 12 here in Adelaide. And the conductor of that choir, you can see there towards the left-hand side, is a young 38-year-old woman from Belgium who joined our club 4 years ago. And since then has got married and had a baby. And whereas in the past we used to be announcing people with knee and hip replacements and heart bypasses, we're now announcing people that are getting engaged, married and having kids. So things have certainly changed. And let's look at the figures here. We in our club, we classify friends as part of our membership group because they pay $225 a year, and most of them contribute to the RI Foundation. So we think they're very much an integral part of our club, and we use it as a method for people to enter the club as an interim step, and also to exit as they're getting old and can't get to meetings regularly, they become friends. So we look at them as an important part of the club. So overall, our total membership, active, honorary and friends, has increased in the last 15 years by 15%, whereas previously it had been dropping by 5%. And you can see the big increase there in the number of members under 50 and the female members. You might say, well, how come you got such a big increase in members under 50 and female members when overall your active members only increased by 6%? You need to have a look at what's happened with those active members, because in those 5 years, we've actually attracted 70 new active members and we've lost 60. 27 have died, which is understandable given our membership profile and average age. 16 of them have transferred to honorary or friends, 3 were delisted, and 14 have resigned. So if you look at that demographics and you look specifically at the male and females, we now have 22% of our members under 50, whereas back there in 2015, we only had 12%. We got 25% female members compared with 13 back in 2015. Our average age has dropped to 61. And most significantly, look at the different countries some of our members were born in. There's something like about 15 different countries. So the whole nature and culture of our club has changed dramatically in the last 5 years. Well, how did we turn this around? Well, obviously, we've undertaken and we continue to undertake, and I'll make that point from the start. This is not a one-off process. This is an ongoing process. We've undertaken a number of different things, which collectively have brought about this significant change in how we operate and, in fact, the culture of our club. Now, some of these things you could utilise in your clubs. Some of you might want to modify them and use them. Some of them may not be appropriate because all clubs are a little bit different. But if we looked at everything we did and said, well, what's the philosophy behind doing that? And grouped them in those sort of categories, you come up with 5 groups, which we call our 5 generic steps in our process. Now, those 5 steps are developing an awareness and a commitment amongst all members that we had a problem and we needed to change, getting the club ready, finding potential new members, getting them to join the club, then welcoming and retaining them. So let's look at those 5 steps in a little bit more detail. Now, the first one is an essential and most important part of the whole process. To develop amongst all your members the acceptance that you had a problem and an agreement amongst them to work together to resolve it. Now, this, as I said, is crucial, but it's also very time consuming. Nobody wants to change, but they are prepared to listen and consider change if they see a need for it. So we probably took best part of 3 or 4 months where the then president, I was president-elect at that time, and I was also membership director. The 2 of us would speak almost every week, just little snippets about some of the issues and problems we were facing as a club with our declining and aging membership. We talked about things like, you know, a fairly treasured project of ours was to sell all the wood that was collected after the wood chopping at the Royal Adelaide Show. We made quite a bit of money on it. It was a lot of good fun. But as we were aging, we couldn't pick up the logs anymore. So we've in fact worked now with the Rotaractors, so we've got them involved. But we talked about all those sorts of things and how the very nature of how we operated and the things that we treasured were changing, not because we wanted them to change, but because we didn't have the numbers anymore and we didn't have the actual strength to do many of those things. So just developing an awareness that there was a problem. We spoke about and showed videos from Michael McQueen and from Mark Huddleston, where they were talking about the need for clubs to look at change and the problems we were all facing. we discussed how other clubs went about bringing about change in their organisations. We talked about the Rotary Club of Yass with their new membership information nights. We talked about the Sydney Rotary Club where they were getting rid of the sergeant sessions and fines and so on. We even talked about the Port Adelaide Football Club because they were undergoing significant cultural change at that time. And I mean, you could go outside that. You could look at the Boy Scouts, and you could look at an issue that I heard recently of the Salvation Army, where they brought together their religious element and their charity element. You know, significant cultural change within big organisations has lessons for us all. Then we developed and implemented a membership focus in our strategic plan. And I've stressed the point, the need for a multi-year strategic plan, because this is not a one-off quick process. It's a commitment that you have to make as a club over 2, 3, 4, 5 years. We're still going on it. We're into about our 6th year. And we're still doing things that are addressing our membership in terms of attracting new members and retaining current ones. Now, this is a strategic plan that we did back then in 2015-16. Initially a 3-year strategic plan with a long-term vision to take our club from a good one to a great one, with a specific purpose about developing a vibrant and effective and proactive club where members enjoy being actively engaged and use their talents and so on. We had 2 objectives, and the first one was to grow, renew and actively engage the membership by attracting and retaining new business, professional and community leaders, and reinvigorating current membership through making meetings more enjoyable and by the better use of our members' vocational skills, abilities in the service of others. Now, it was specifically focused on our membership. And for both of our objectives, we had performance indicators. And our performance indicator for this objective at that point in time was that by the end of this strategic plan, we would have total membership in excess of 185 and more than 35 members under 50 and at least 40 female members. Now, in fact, we got over all of those elements, except I think we had 38 females at that point in time. So we did well. So then we moved into the next 3-year strategic plan, where our performance indicators were about maintaining a total membership of 200 and having at least 70 members, 70 female members, and at least 60 under 50. So today, we've just started off in our 3rd strategic plan. This is from 2001 to 2025. And you can see we've got a little bit more sophisticated here. We've got 5 objectives here.
Adelaide, go.
But there is an element of focused on membership in each of those objectives in terms of what those things are doing are in fact helping to retain and attract new members. And some of the performance indicators that we now have is that at least 50% of members in any year are active on new or existing committees, and at least 25 members each year participate in formal development opportunities offered by Rotary, conferences and so on. And that 100% of all our members have new members have a mentor. So I think it's important with strategic planning to do it over that multi-year period. And it's also important that your objectives have performance indicators that you can measure and evaluate. Otherwise, they become documents that look good and sit on shelves and nothing happens. We would report every quarter at board meetings on how we were performing against our strategic plan objectives and the performance indicators for those objectives. So that was the first one, getting the awareness and commitment of members to go forward. The second one was getting the club ready. It's no good getting the commitment, going out and getting new people and bringing them in and they walk in the place and you're doing all the old things and it really turns them on and they walk away. Your club has to be attractive, professional and welcoming for new members when they enter. So you need to look at your brand. Now, we sell ourselves as a big world organisation making an impact worldwide. So it's important that our brand is associated with the international image. We loved our little Rotary Club of Adelaide logo. We spent a lot of time and money developing that one, but obviously that had to go. The other thing we need to look at, and that's particularly important for, oh, sorry, hang on, no, I'm jumping ahead. No, the other thing you can do in terms of making sure your club is ready is do some self-evaluations. Look at the RI health check that you can pull down from online. Survey potential new members about Rotary and what would attract them. Look at all different ways that you can look at what you do and what you should be doing so that you can make the environment attractive for others. Ask some outsiders to come in and comment. I mean, a couple of us got our kids to come in, our older kids to come in and sit at meetings and say, well, honestly, tell us what you thought of that. And, you know, would you be interested in coming along to a meeting like that? So get some input, some realistic, honest input that you can take on board and address. Look at the format of your meetings. Now, you know, the old sergeant session with its often sexist and racist and often very in-house jokes and comments isn't attractive to new young members. Some of the other things we used to do, you know, the invocation and so on, you know, they weren't things that younger people really found that significant. It was a bit of a turn off. So we looked at the format and we changed it to make it more attractive. And surprisingly, when we announced, after having told them for a number of weeks about what was going on in places like the Sydney Rotary Club, where they'd got rid of the invocation, they've got rid of the sergeant session. When we finally said, on the basis of the feedback we had from all our members, we were going to dispense with these things, the older members cheered. It was amazing. We didn't have any resentment to getting rid of some of those old things. We thought initially that some of them would be wedded to them, but that wasn't the case at all. The next one is really significant when you're looking at younger people, because they look at your social media and your website. And, you know, if you go around and you look at websites of clubs today and their Facebook pages, you'll see some of them are advertising functions that were held 6, 8, 10 months ago. Some of them have got a photo of a board that was back in 2016, 17. Now, if we are going to be professional and we are going to be attractive, we need to make sure these things are up to date and they really sell our club. Have a look at the Rotary Club of Adelaide. We've come a long way in both our Facebook page and in our website. And in fact, you can see a videoed recording each week of our presentations at our meetings. And it's very much an interactive thing and it's completely up to date. Prepare your members to be openly talk to your members about when new people come along. Don't say, oh, you can't sit here, so Joe Blow is sitting here or someone else is sitting here. You know, say, oh, welcome, come and join us. In fact, we got to the point where we would have people allocated to the welcome desk, looking out for new members and looking out for guests, and actually going up, introducing themselves and taking them to other members and sitting them with a group and introducing them around, just to make them feel welcome and wanted. So much then for the second step. The third step is, how do you go about finding potential new members? How do you find the people that are most likely to be able to become a member of your club? Well, you can look around at all the Rotary alumni, the RILO graduates and so on, and look at the Rotaract clubs. Now, we work very closely with 2 Rotaract clubs. The one there pictured is the the Adelaide University Rotaract Club, and we have a really good working relationship with them. We also work with the Thebarton Senior College Rotaract Club, and we have a good relationship with them as well. And both Rotaract clubs work with us on a number of projects, like that wood chopping sale of the wood. They work with us and we give them a share of the profit. We also invite them to lunches on a 50% payment basis. So whereas we pay $30 for our lunch every week, if they want to come along and come anytime they like, they only pay 15. And many of them come on a regular basis. And some of them are now at the point where, while they're still Rotaractors and past presidents of the Rotaract Club, they're actually joining in and joining some of our committees. So it's almost a slow integration. Look around at new small businesses that might be developing in your area. Get them to come along, invite them to your meetings. Look at your own expanded families. Ask your members to say, well, look at your in-laws, look at your cousins, look at anyone in that age group from sort of 20 to 60 that maybe have had a change of life, or you know that have that philanthropic gene in them that want to help others. Look at your own workplaces and into your client bases. Look at business networks. Now, you know, in Melbourne, I'm sure you've got, like we have in Adelaide, a whole lot of professional business networks. We're lucky to have a coordinator of one of those business networks in our club. So he's been a great introduction for us to the members of those business networks. These are groups of small businesses that pay something like $400 or $500 a year to be a member. And for that, that pays for their weekly breakfast. And they have different speakers, and they just specifically look at networking and growing their own businesses and helping one another in the process. But what they're starting to understand is that they work in a community, and so a community focus in what they do and what they say is important as well. And some of them are starting to look at Rotary to get that sort of experience and input. Look at your regular visitors and guests. Now, as a large club, we have a lot of regular visitors and guests. So we've gone back over those, and those that have appeared 2 or 3 times, we start inviting them to functions, and we set up networking functions specifically for them. And the final thing we did back in those early stages were to ask members to go through some of those processes I've just alluded to and to come up with the names of 3 potential new members. And initially we got something like 360 odd names out of that process. And I'll tell you more about what we did at that stage. So the next thing is getting them to join, presenting Rotary to them in a way that interests them and is seen by them to fill their needs. Now, we conducted 3 of those big Yes model type membership information evenings. The first one was after we went to our members and we got the 360 names. So we sent out 360 invitations to the first one. Now this is a drinks and nibbles function from 5:30 till 7. We meet at the Adelaide Oval. It was held in one of the rooms there at the Adelaide Oval, as you can see there. And of the 360 invites, we got 130 acceptances. We got 100 turn up on the night, and we finished up with something like 27 new members out of it. We probably tried to overdo it that night. We had 6 of our members speak, and that was too much. We didn't give them enough time to talk to our members or to talk amongst themselves. So the second function, which was a smaller one that followed on some 8 or 9 months later, we only had 3 speakers. And the third Yes type membership information evening we held about a year later, we only had 2 speakers. And we don't try and overload them with our own members. So we select about 1 member to about 2 guests, 2 to 3 guests. And we ensure that we get members that are very much open and friendly in their own way, and will be supportive of the philosophy behind the whole process. Now, as we've gone on, we've developed other things. We don't use those membership information nights, certainly not the big ones like that anymore. We do other things. We've now got a monthly meeting called Like Minds. We've had to unfortunately shelve that during COVID, but it's about to be resurrected again. But we ran it for about a year before COVID. We held it at the Bodyline Bar area at Adelaide Oval, which takes about 70 people. We put on drinks, we put on nibbles, and they paid about $25 to come, and they bought their own drinks. And we had one of our younger members, the guy here on the right, James Packham, a young real estate guy. He compared them all, and he had one of the local corporate entities come along. This is Glenn Cooper from Cooper's Brewery, just talking about the company and how they've developed over the years and the change processes. And we asked our own members to come, and our aim was to get about 35 of our own members. And we went out to all of these contacts we had from all the different methods we'd used, and they sort of, they could invite other people. So our aim was to get about 35 non-Rotarians to these things as well. And after the first one or two and the way people enjoyed it, we had no problems filling that. So we'd get about 70 once a month to these Like Minds. We didn't push Rotary down their throat. We just talked about if you're interested, and we had brochures there and stuff, and we picked up a few members just from that process. The important thing with all of these sorts of events, though, is once you get some interest, that you follow the people up. Now, when we had those membership information evenings, we would send them our weekly bulletin for 6 weeks after they came. And we put information on our website about how they could join. We gave them information about that when they came to those events. And we offered them a free luncheon, particularly those first three. We didn't do that with the Like Minds, but we did it with those membership information evenings. So when they came and showed some interest, we gave them the program and speakers for the next 6 weeks. And we said, look, we'll invite you to be our guest at any of these meetings. They could only come to one, but they opted into that, let us know, and we would meet them and take them around and introduce them and make them feel welcome. And I think the important thing that you do through this process to really get them to come and join you is to show interest in them and listen to them. Many of them come with ideas about Rotary and about ideas about what they would like to do in Rotary. And it's important to not only listen to them, but to try and give them an opportunity to fill some of their objectives in becoming a member. Now, having got them there and got them in and inducted them, how do we continue to show interest and retain them? Because, you know, if you see any of the data, I think Rotary internationally, worldwide, in the last 10 years, has lost more members than it's actually had. I think they've got something like 1.2 million members worldwide, but in the last 10 years, Rotary internationally has lost 1.3 million. So the retention in Rotary is a big issue. So how do we ensure that having got them there, we keep them there? Well, we have a mentoring program. And as you saw there in our current strategic plan, our objective is to have 100% of all new members with a mentor. We probably have got pretty close to that in recent years, but some have sort of slipped by. And we actually have our own brochure for mentors, which gives them information about the sorts of things they should do in terms of when a new member comes on board and they're the mentor, you contact them, you bring them along to the first few meetings, you might take them out for a coffee or a meal and talk about Rotary, answer any of their questions. So that's the mentoring process. we acknowledge them and make them feel welcome. Now, as a big club, we don't have the sort of small interactions that you have in smaller clubs. So we have what we call a fellowship night once a month, where we get maybe 30 or 40 members come, drinks and nibbles. We've made that the program for those fellowship nights, an opportunity for new members to talk about themselves and what they've done. And that's been really good. So it's acknowledged them, acknowledged their skills and abilities that they're bringing to Rotary, and to make them feel welcome. The other thing is to, of course, get them involved as soon as possible. Ask them what they want to do, listen, and then get them involved on committees as soon as possible. The other thing I should have mentioned back there in those membership information evenings, when we went along and we asked them to come to meetings and said we would pay for one of those lunches over the following 6 weeks, we did also have a program of any of our community activities coming up in the next 6 weeks, and we invited them to come along and participate in that as well. So just continuing on, every member that joins has to do a small membership profile, which can be searched in a number of different ways. So we use those to link new members with current members with similar backgrounds and interests. And now, in replacing the big membership information evenings, we have about 2 new member evenings a year, where new members come along, and we ask them if they want to bring any of their friends who are not members, they can come along as well. Where we have a few of our members sit down with them, they talk amongst themselves, they have any of their questions about Rotary answered, they tell us their thoughts, any things they'd like to do, any changes they'd like to see made. But it's also become not only a strengthening thing for them, but it's also another way of letting them bring their friends and have a bit of taste of Rotary. Here are some of our newer members, our treasurer up there at the top, Nick Handley, Priyanka there, he's talking to, and the 2 women at the bottom, the one on the right in the bottom photo is Yotti. She's the Belgian lady who's the conductor of our choir, and the woman on the left, Tatiana, she's from Romania. She's been a member now for 2 years, and she's brought her own project into the club, and we're sending kids clothing off to Romania every 6 months as a result of her involvement in the club. And as I said, we asked them to talk about themselves at our monthly social evening. So if I could just make a few comments in closing. This 5-step approach is holistic. You can't just say, oh, well, I'll do the first step or the third step. You know, it all has to be done together. It's the collective effect of those 5 steps that makes the difference. And bear in mind, it takes considerable time. We've been on it for 5 years. We're continuing to work on it. It's a work in progress thing. It's not a one-off thing. And it's best reflected if you plan it over a multi-year strategic plan. And the other thing I'd say is that not only do you need to give it time, considerable time, you need to give it some resources too. So our membership committee has a budget every year, which pays for those drinks and nibbles at some of those functions and the new members' nights and so on. It is a significant cultural change, so needs the total involvement and commitment of all members. Consequently, that first step, awareness and commitment, is essential. You're not going to get anywhere unless you get all your members on side and supporting what you want to do. As I said, it's not one-off. It needs to evolve in time, which means that some of the things that we did in 2015, 16, 17, we may or may not do today. We may have modified them. We may have put them on the shelf to be reintroduced again in another 2 years' time. We may have replaced them with other things. It's work in progress. There are resources to help you through RI and the district. Use them where you can. And incorporate in what you're doing in the club, as Jesse said before, in changes in volunteering, be flexible and accommodating, and provide them with meaningful opportunities for them. Hence the need to listen to them, listen to what they want to do, and provide them with opportunities that will meet their needs. Finally, the image we portray is important, and working together has big advantages. Now, I could elaborate on that, but I think it's pretty clear. You know, it's important that when they come in, that what they see and feel is a very open, flexible, welcoming environment with lots of things that would be of interest to them. And, you know, we're a big club. We can do a lot of this on our own. Many of your clubs might be smaller clubs, and there's huge advantages in you working together on that. Quite often in Rotary, we're very much in silos, very much insulated. You know, work together, get a few clubs together and run one of these membership information nights. And each president or members from each club can have a little bit of a session. You can have displays, but, you know, get the advantage of a bigger cohort to, in fact, get more people there and see if you can attract some interest. So that's it from me. I'm happy to answer any questions. Obviously, I'm excited and enthused about what we've done because it's so enjoyable to be a member of the Rotary Club of Adelaide today. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Darcy. I hope everyone can hear me okay. Very good. And once again, I appreciate your time coming in from Adelaide, although it's half an hour before, isn't it? You've only just got up, really, probably.
That's right. Well, I'm still celebrating the huge win of the Crows last night. Sorry about that.
Sorry, it's you're busting up. Anyway, let's look. We do have a couple of questions people have put. We've got just about 5 minutes to go, if you wouldn't mind. So let me just. I've got one here from Elizabeth. Can you please clarify? I think I heard Darcy saying that Friends of Rotary pay a fee to be a Friends of Rotary at the Adelaide Rotary Club.
Yeah, do you want me to answer?
Yes, please. Yes.
Yeah, our friends pay $225 a year. Our normal membership is $450. You know, we find that most friends come maybe 6 to 8 times a year. A lot of friends don't come very often to meetings, but come a lot to the projects. And some of them, as I said before, have come into Friends as a stepping stone to become a member. An older member who joined recently, Monica Oliphant, daughter-in-law of Sir Mark Oliphant, famous scientist and former governor of South Australia. She joined as a friend for 1 year and then has become a full member, is now on the committee. So they, you know, it's a stepping stone into the club. For others who can't get to meetings anymore, but still want to get the bulletins, still want to feel involved, they see it as a way of phasing out, but still being involved.
Thanks. And look, while Adelaide is certainly a larger club than most of our club, all our clubs in our district, the fact is a lot of these principles can easily be applied in any size club, can't they?
Yeah, I mean, that's why rather than talk specifically about the details of all those things, I tried to make it generic into the 5 steps so that it's the philosophy behind what we did. And you could do quite different things to that. But if in fact it developed the commitment and awareness of all your members to the need for change, commitment to go forward, terrific. If it helped get all members together or identify new members, fine. It's those 5 steps that need to really happen in some format for you to be able to get the collective effect of those efforts.
And you'd be happy to share a PDF of that?
No problems.
If you send it to me, we'll send it out to everyone who's interested. And we are recording this, as you probably know. Phil Lancaster asked, one of the challenges of younger members is that we have a very busy time of life with careers and family commitments. Would be interested in your comments, Darcy, on this.
Yeah, look, a lot of our sorry, that's not the right word, sorry. A lot of our younger members do have that, and you know, that goes right up to about 60 and stop working in many cases. Obviously, the old days of, you know, attendance at meetings is gone, and so, you know, of our approximately 200 total membership, we would get every week at lunch about 80 to 100. And of that 80 to 100, there'd be 50 or 60 that go every week, the old stages sort of thing. And the other 30 to 40 the newer and younger members who might come once every 4 or 5 weeks. So we get a changing group, but we do find that those younger members are the first to come to weekend functions, first to come to evening functions, first to come to things where they can bring their family. And we are looking at doing more projects and fellowship activities that involve families. You're muted.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a bit too good at muting myself sometimes. Jane makes me do that. But anyway.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
From Don Ripper, what do you see as the value of having a club as massive as Adelaide compared with smaller, more intimate clubs? And how do you retain the fellowship amongst members? What do you see as a good number for the average club?
Yeah, that's a good question. Look, I think there's advantages in both clubs. I think clubs, under sort of 20 are struggling, or you might have the intimacy of that group. They're struggling to be able to provide the range of activities that will be attractive to potential new members. So as a bigger club, you're able to do a lot more different things, which collectively appear to be more attractive to potential new members. So, I mean, I would like to see clubs at least 50. I mean, I think an ideal number might be 50 to 100. We've got, we got pushing 200, but as I said, we don't get them there every week, but we do get them all participating. There'd be, of the 200, I reckon there'd be less than 10 people that wouldn't turn up to anything in 6 months. And we do specific things, like I mentioned, the third Tuesday in the night, the fellowship night. That's a smaller intimacy type thing where the new members talk about their lives and backgrounds and experiences. And that's specifically set up to give the fellowship that you have on a more regular basis in smaller clubs. That Like Minds activity is also a small social function, as well as listening to a prominent corporate entity speak. We do, some of our projects become little activities, like we manage the marshalling for the big Christmas pageant in Adelaide and for big car racing things. So we get groups that build some sort of fellowship relationships that do that every year. So that within big clubs, you can get that intimacy and friendship within groups that you have on a regular basis in smaller clubs, but it's just done differently. But the advantage in the bigger club is that, you can offer a wider range of opportunities. We got 5 international projects in 5 different countries on the go.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
And I think, I mean, it's the range of activities. The other thing, I mean, we're a luncheon meeting. So as a club our size in the centre of Adelaide, with that sort of number, we're pretty powerful in being able to attract pretty prominent speakers. So that's another advantage. So, I'm not putting down smaller clubs at all. There are big advantages in smaller clubs. There are big advantages in big clubs.
Thank you.
Whatever you've got to make the best of it.
Indeed, indeed. Look, Darcy, thank you very much for giving us your time this morning. I hope everyone appreciated your comment. I'm sure they did. So lots of nodding heads. Big thank you to all, and we'll continue our sessions as the day goes on now. We've got the next one in 15 minutes. We've got 3 for people to choose from. Thank you, everyone, for turning up. We'll look forward to seeing you soon. But now, thank you, Darcy.
Thanks very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.